Most DSLRs, prosumer or professional cameras have a setting that allows you to change the colors and contrast of your recorded video. It's most often referred as the picture style or camera profile, but there are so many choices and settings, so what's the best camera profile to shoot in? Hey folks, Jordy here for Cinecom.net and welcome to our filmmaking channel. The camera profile can be set from your camera's menu. In Nikon's DSLRs, they refer to as the picture controls. In Canon DSLRs, it's called the picture style, and on Panasonic Lumix cameras, it's called the photo style. But whatever they are named in that menu, you'll find different profiles such as standard, neutral, vivid, monochrome, portrait, etc. When switching between these profiles, you'll see that your video gets a different look. In particular, the contrast and saturation. See the big difference here in using the vivid picture style in one shot and the Nikon's flat picture style in the other shot. So therefore, it's very important to know how these camera profiles work and which one we need to pick. Furthermore, we can also dial into each picture profile. Depending on your camera, you'll even see different options in here to tweak your selected profile even more. Some settings that come back in any camera are the sharpness, contrast, and saturation. And it are also these three settings that I want to focus on in this video. But let's first have a look back at the two shots that we saw in the beginning. The left video was shot with the vivid profile, much contrast and rich colors. We might see this as the better camera profile as the right one. Here we have low contrast, less colors. It's a very dull and ugly image. No offense, Janik. Now let's look at these images from a technical perspective. Starting with the highlights, we see that the left image is overexposed in those areas. The sky is eating into the branches of the tree behind him. On the right image, we do still see the sky and much more details in those branches. So when doing a proper color correction in post-production, we can make the right image look as good as the left one without over or underexposing specific areas. So I believe we can agree that the more flat your picture style is, the more information it holds. When doing color grading to add specific looks to your videos, it's also much easier to start from a very flat image. Now, when going into the settings of one picture style, for example the standard picture style, you can see that we can tweak the contrast and saturation even more. Important to know is that this only applies to the picture style you're changing. What I typically like to do here is decrease the contrast as much as possible and dial the saturation to somewhere around 25%. It's easier to add saturation afterwards than taking it out. Now the last important setting is the sharpness. Now this is a digital sharpness that happens inside your camera. This is an option I'd like to disable by putting it on the lowest value. Sharpness has to come from your lens, and if you really want to make your details pop, you'd better do that in post-production with the sharpness or unsharp mask effect. Now that we know how these profiles work, we can make better choices to find out what the best picture style is. But that's for after this short break. We shot a music video in a club and noticed there weren't enough inserts due to the time shortage. Luckily, Videoblocks has a wide range of stock footage where we could look through and find everything we needed. So we searched for a typical disco ball to stay within the club theme. Once we found the right clip, we could then use it to make the edit more dynamic. Now for your inserts and tons more, visit videoblocks.com. More information in the description below. Welcome back, folks. Unfortunately, there is no picture style to rule them all. Even though we like to shoot as flat as possible to get the most flexibility in post, flat profiles do come with a downside. I'm on the Lumix GH4, which has a V-Log profile. This one is super flat, perfect for color grading, but here's the catch. What the camera is actually doing is lifting its shadows and decreasing its highlights to get that flat contrast. As you know, every camera makes noise, which is mostly visible in darker areas. Using such a flat profile thus also increases your camera noise in the shadow regions. Taking this image to the color correction, we have to decrease those shadows again to reduce that noise. For bright locations like the outdoors by day, such a flat profile is great, as there is much more highlights than shadows. When setting my exposure, I also make sure that the highlights, such as the sky, is just not overexposed. This means I'm shooting a bit brighter than I would usually do, without overexposing. Now, bringing this image into post, I have to decrease the exposure again to make the shot more appealing, thus keeping that noise under control. Let's take that same shot in a darker place. Here almost everything are shadows, so it's hard to expose brighter. Bringing this shot into post is also a huge problem to grade. We have to decrease the shadows to get rid of the noise, which makes the shot underexposed. So the conclusion of this is that you can only use super flat profiles in brighter situations or in studio environments where you have control over the lights. Usually when I do low light shoots, I tend to go into the neutral picture style and dial the contrast, saturation and sharpness down. It's still a more flat profile, but it's not pushing its shadows so much as the Panasonic V-Log or Nikon flat profile. Now, we've been talking a lot about setting a picture profile for color grading, but what if there's no time to do that color grading? Well, then there are the two solutions. First is that you set a certain look in camera. Typically, I'd like to select the standard picture style and keep all the settings within at default. It gives you a nice contrast and rich colors, but they are not overdue like the vivid profile, which you really have to be careful with. Your shots are going to be very quickly over or underexposed with that. Now, the second technique to get a good looking image fast is to shoot flat and create a color preset. Do a simple color correction, but nothing too drastic, and save that as a preset. You can then apply that preset to all of your shots. If for some reason you do need to tweak a bit more, then you can do that and you can have that flexibility. We've made a detailed description about the best settings for Nikon, Canon and Lumix cameras in our blog. You can find a link to it in the description below, or you can also just hit the card in the corner up there. And thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and as always, stay creative.